depending on the resistance to weathering. In an acid soil environment, weathering of minerals is accelerated. In general, primary minerals weather and secondary minerals are formed. Over time, the mineralogical composition of the soil changes and consequently soil properties change. Weathering releases ions to the soil solution. Many of these ions are plant nutrients. Some ions precipitate to form secondary minerals and some ions are leached from the soil. Minimally and moderately weathered soils tend to be rich in primary minerals and with high cation exchange capacity. Intensively weathered soils are depleted of primary minerals. Few nutrient ions are released and soils are infertile. The clay minerals in intensively weathered soils have low cation exchange capacity. Nutrient ions adsorbed to the surfaces of clay particles represent a reservoir of nutrients that is exchangeable and available to plants. Totally weathered out soils almost have no capacity to support plants. Such soils may only be mined as ore. Soil colloids. Colloid is a substance composed of two homogeneous phases, one of which is dispersed in the other. Soil colloids are substances of very small particle, either mineral such as clay or organic such as humus, which therefore have a large surface area per unit volume. Colloids usually provide surfaces with high cation exchange capacity and also exhibit an instability controlled by the soil chemistry. Properties of soil colloids. Size. The inorganic and organic colloids are extremely small, smaller than 2 micrometers in diameter. These particles can be seen only with an electron microscope. Surface area. Because of their small, all soil colloids have a greater external surface area per unit mass. The external surface area of 1 gram of colloidal clay is 1000 times that of 1 gram of coarse sand. Certain silicate clays have extensive internal surfaces occurring between plate-like crystal units that make up each particle and often greatly exceed the external surface area. The total surface area of soil colloids range from 10 square meter per gram for clays with only external surfaces to more than 800 square meter per gram for clays with extensive internal surfaces. The colloid surface area in the upper 15 centimeter of a hectare of clay soil would be as high as 7 lakh square kilometer. Surface charges. Both external and internal surfaces of soil colloids carry negative or positive charges or both. Most of the organic and inorganic soil colloids carry a negative charge. The magnitude of the charge is known as zeta potential. The presence and intensity of the particle charge influence the attraction and repulsion of the particles towards each other thereby influencing both physical and chemical properties. The sources of negative charge on clay comes from ionizable hydrogen ions, isomorphous substitution. Ionizable hydrogen ions, these are hydrogen from hydroxyl ions on clay surfaces. The aluminium hydroxyl or silicon hydroxyl portion of the clay ionizes the hydrogen and leaves an unneutralized negative charge on the oxygen. The extent of ionized hydrogen depends on the solution pH, and hence negative charges are pH dependent charges. More ionization occurs in alkaline or basic solutions. Isomorphous substitution. This is due to the substitution of a cation of higher valence with another cation of lower valence, but similar in clay crystal structure. In clay crystals, some ions fit exactly into mineral lattice sites because of their convenient and charge. Dominantly, clays have silicate in tetrahedral sites and aluminium in octahedral sites. Other ions present in large amounts during clay crystallization can replace some of these cations. Adsorption of cations. As soil colloids possess negative charge, they attract and attach the ions of positive charge on the colloidal surfaces. They attract cations like hydrogen, aluminium, calcium and magnesium ions. This gives rise to an ionic double layer. The isomorphous substitution in the colloidal particle makes the external and internal layers of clay minerals negatively charged, and these surfaces act as huge anions which form the inner layer of the double layer. The outer layer is made of loosely held or adsorbed cations attracted to the negatively charged surfaces. Adsorption of water. A large number of water molecules are associated with soil colloidal particles. Some water molecules are attracted to the adsorbed cations and the cation is said to be in a hydrated state. Other water molecules are held in the internal surfaces of the colloidal clay particles. These water molecules play a critical role in determining both the physical and chemical properties of soil. Cohesion. Cohesion is the attractive force between similar molecules or materials. It indicates the tendency of the clay particles to stick together. Adhesion. Adhesion is the attractive force between different molecules or materials. Adhesion refers to the attraction of colloidal materials to the surface of any other body or substance which it comes in contact with. Swelling and shrinkage. Some soil clay colloids belonging to smectite group like montmorillonite swell when wet and shrink when dry. After a prolonged dry spell, soils high in smectite clay, example black soil or vertisols, often show criss-cross wide and deep cracks. These cracks first allow rain to penetrate rapidly. Later, because of swelling, the cracks will close and become impervious. But soils dominated by kaolinite, chlorite or fine-grained micas do not swell or shrink. Vermiculite is intermediate in its swelling and shrinking characteristics. Dispersion and flocculation. As long as the colloidal particles remain negatively charged, they repel each other and the suspension state remains stable. If on any account they lose their charge, or if the magnitude of the charge is reduced, the particles coalesce, form flock or loose aggregates and settle down. This phenomenon of coalescence and formation of flocks is known as flocculation. The reverse process of the breaking up of flocks into individual particles is known as dispersion or deflocculation. Brownian movement. When a suspension of colloidal particles is examined under a microscope, the particles seem to oscillate. The oscillation is due to the collision of colloidal particles or molecules with those of the liquid in which they are suspended. Soil colloidal particles with those of water in which they are suspended are always in constant state of motion. The smaller the particle, the more rapid is its movement. Non-permeability. Colloids, as opposed to crystalloids, are unable to pass through a semi-permeable membrane. Even though the colloidal particles are extremely small, they are bigger than molecules of crystalloid dissolved in water. The membrane allows the passage of water and of the dissolved substances through its pores, but retains the colloidal particles. Types of soil colloids. There are four major types of colloids present in soil. 1. Layer silicate clays. 2. Iron and aluminium oxide clays. 3. Allophane and associated amorphous clays. 4. Humus. Layer silicate clays, iron and aluminium oxide clays, allophane and associated amorphous clays are inorganic colloids, while humus is an organic colloid. Layer silicate clays. These are important silicate clays and known as phyllosilicates. Phyllon means leaf. Because of their leaf-like or plate-like structure, they are comprised of two kinds of horizontal sheets. One is dominated by silicon and the other by aluminium and or magnesium. Layer silicate system soils are overwhelmingly negatively charged with cation exchange capacity. The cation exchange capacity originates mainly from isomorphous substitution. These negatively charged sites constitute permanent charge that is not affected by pH. The charge may be modified, however, to a small extent by minor or thin coatings of oxide clays on the particle surfaces. Genesis. Clay minerals are crystals formed from soluble products of primary minerals. The kind of clay formed depends on the proportion of different ions in solution and the weathering environment. Most clays are crystalline with a definite repeating arrangement of atoms. They are made up of layers of oxygen atoms bonded together by silicon or aluminum. Silica tetrahedron. The basic building block for the silica dominated sheet is a unit composed of one silicon atom surrounded by 4 oxygen atoms. It is called the silica tetrahedron because of its 4-sided configuration. An interlocking array or a series of these silica tetrahedral tied together horizontally by shared oxygen anions gives it a tetrahedral sheet. Alumina octahedron. Aluminium and or magnesium ions are the key cations in this type of sheet. An aluminium or magnesium ion surrounded by 6 oxygen atoms or hydroxyl group gives an 8-sided building block termed octahedron. Numerous such octahedra link together horizontally to form an octahedral sheet. An aluminium dominated sheet is known as dioctahedral sheet, whereas one dominated by magnesium is called trioctahedral sheet. The tetrahedral and octahedral sheets are the fundamental structural units of silicate clays. They, in turn, are bound together within the crystals by shared oxygen atoms in different layers. The specific nature and combination of sheets in these layers vary from one type of clay to another and largely control the physical and chemical properties of each clay. Classification of silicate clays minerals. On the basis of the number and the arrangement of tetrahedral silica and octahedral alumina magnesia sheets contained in the crystal units or layers, silicate clays are classified into 3 different groups. A. 1:1 type clay minerals. B. 2:1 type clay minerals, and C. 2:1:1 type clay minerals. 1:1 type clay minerals. The layers of 1:1 type minerals are made up of one tetrahedral silica sheet combined with one octahedral alumina sheet, hence the terminology. They are called tetra-octa or TO type. In soils, kaolinite is the most prominent member of this group, which includes halloysite, nacrite and dacite. The tetrahedral and octahedral sheets in a layer of kaolinite crystal are held together tightly by oxygen atoms, which are mutually shared by the silicon and aluminum cations in their respective sheets. These layers in turn are held together by hydrogen bonding. Consequently, the structure is fixed and no expansion ordinarily occurs between layers when the clay is wetted. 2:1 type minerals. The crystal units or layers of these minerals are characterized by an octahedral sheet sandwiched between 2 tetrahedral sheets. They are called tetra-octa-tetra or TOT type. 3 general groups have this basic crystal structure. expanding type smectites and vermiculite, non-expanding type mica aurelite, expanding minerals. The smectite group is noted for interlayer expansion which occurs by swelling when the minerals are wetted, the water entering the interlayer space and forcing the layers apart. Montmorillonite is the most prominent member of this group in soils, although badellite, nontronite and saponite are also found. Vermiculites are also 2:1 type minerals in that an octahedral sheet occurs between two tetrahedral sheets. In most vermiculites, the octahedral sheet is aluminum dominated, dioctahedral, although magnesium dominated trioctahedral vermiculites are also common. Water molecules along with magnesium and other ions are strongly adsorbed in the interlayer space of the vermiculites. They act primarily as bridges holding the units together rather than as wedges driving them apart. The degree of swelling is therefore considerably less for vermiculites than for smectites. For this reason, vermiculites are considered limited expansion clay materials, expanding more than kaolinite but much less than smectites. Non-expanding minerals. Micas are the type minerals in this group. Muscovite and biotite, weathered minerals, similar in structure to these micas, are found in the clay fraction of soils. They are called fine-grained micas. Like sanctitites, fine-grained micas have a 2:1 type crystal. However, the particles are much larger than those found in the smectites. Also, the major source of charge in the tetrahedral sheet where aluminum atoms occupy about 20% of the silicon sites. These results in a high net negative charge in the tetrahedral sheet, even higher than that found in vermiculites. To satisfy this charge, potassium ions are strongly attracted in the interlayer space and are just the right to fit into certain spaces in the adjoining tetrahedral sheets. The potassium thereby acts as a binding agent, preventing expansion of the crystal. Hence, fine-grained micas are quite non-expansive. 2:1 type minerals. They are also called tetra, octa, tetra, octa or TOTO type. This silicate group is represented by chlorides, which are common in a variety of soils. Chlorides are basically iron magnesium silicates with some aluminum present. In a typical chloride clay crystal, 2:1 layers, such as in vermiculites, alternate with a magnesium dominated trioctahedral sheet, giving a 2:1:1 ratio. Magnesium also dominates the trioctahedral sheet in the 2:1 layer of chlorides. Thus, the crystal unit contains 2 silica tetrahedral sheets and 2 magnesium dominated trioctahedral sheets, giving rise to the term 2:1:1 or 2:2 type structures. The negative charge of the chlorides is about the same as that of fine grained micas, considerably less than that of the smectites or vermiculites. Like fine micas, chlorides may have interstratified with vermiculites or smectites in a single crystal. Particle and surface area for chlorides are also about the same as for fine grained micas. There is no water adsorption between the chloride crystal units, which accounts for the non-expanding nature of this mineral. Mixed and interstratified layers. Specific groups of clay minerals do not occur independently of one another. In a given soil, it is common to find several clay minerals in an intimate mixture. Furthermore, some mineral colloids have properties and composition intermediate between those of any two of the well-defined minerals described. Such minerals are termed mixed layer or interstratified because of individual layers within a given crystal may be of more than one type. Terms such as chloride vermiculite and fine grained mica smectite are used to describe mixed layer minerals. In some soils, they are more common than single structured minerals such as montmorillonite. Iron and aluminum oxide clays, sesquic oxide clays. Under conditions of extensive leaching by rain and long time intensive weathering of minerals in most humid, warm climates, most of the silica and much of the alumina in primary minerals are dissolved and slowly leached away. The remnant materials which have lower solubility are sesquioxides. Sesquioxides or metal oxides are mixtures of aluminum hydroxide, iron oxide, iron hydroxide. The Latin word sesqui means 1 and 1/2 times, meaning 1 and 1/2 times more oxygen than aluminum and iron. These clays can grade from amorphous to crystalline. Examples of iron and aluminum oxides common in soils are gibbsite, geothite. Very less is known about these clays than about the layer silicates. These clays do not swell, not sticky, and have high phosphorus adsorption capacity. Allophane and other amorphous minerals. These silicate clays are mixture of silica and alumina. They are amorphous in nature. Even mixture of other weathered oxides like iron oxide may be a part of this mixture. Typically, these clays occur where large amount of weather products existed. These clays are common in soils forming volcanic ash. Example, allophane. These clays have a variable charge that depends on the hydrogen ion in solution, the soil acidity. Humus or organic colloid. Humus is amorphous, dark brown to black, nearly insoluble in water, but mostly soluble in dilute alkali, sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide solutions. It is a temporary intermediate product left after considerable decomposition of plant and animal remains. They are temporary intermediate because the organic substances continue to decompose slowly. The humus is often referred to as an organic colloid and consists of various chains and loops of linked carbon atoms. The humus colloids are not crystalline. They are composed basically of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen rather than of silicon, aluminium, iron, oxygen and hydroxyl groups. The negative charges of humus are associated with partially dissociated enolic, carboxyl and phenolic groups. These groups in turn are associated with central units of varying complexity. Summary: soil colloids are substances of very small particle, either mineral such as clay or organic such as humus, which therefore have a large surface area per unit volume. Colloids usually provide surfaces with high cation exchange capacity and also exhibit an instability controlled by soil chemistry. The inorganic and organic colloids are extremely smaller than 2 centimeters in diameter. These particles can be seen only with an electron microscope. They have large surface area. The colloid surface area in the upper 15 centimeter of a hectare of clay soil could be as high as 7 lakh square kilometer. Both external and internal surfaces of soil colloids carry charges, and because of which they have properties of adsorption, cohesion, adhesion, swelling, shrinking and dispersion, flocculation properties. They also show Brownian movement because of random collisions between particles. There are 4 major types of colloids, namely layer silicate clays, iron and aluminium oxide clays, sesquioxide clays, allophane and associated amorphous clays, and humus. Layer silicate clays are known as phyllosilicates because of their leaf-like or plate-like structure. They are comprised of 2 kinds of horizontal sheets, one dominated by silicon and the other by aluminium and or magnesium. They are classified mainly into 3 types. 1:1 type clay minerals or TO, 2:1 type clay minerals or TOT, 2:1:1 type clay minerals or TOTO. Thank you.